This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're about to begin our meeting today. Do we have any volunteers on the prayer?
I will. I'm already standing.
Yeah, because you just got here, right?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come this morning and to be present and to have everyone here. We pray that you would continue your blessings upon those around this table, those that we serve, and we pray that you would lead, guide, and direct us as we do the county's business, and that we put the citizens ahead of everything else, as we always do, or we try to do. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Let's all stand and join Greg, Bert Greg, for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Bert, you can be seated.
Gavels.
Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna order him a gavel.
I might bust a table here.
I will say this: we had an Episcopal priest that was on the faculty at the law school part-time. His wife was full-time on the faculty, and he was called upon to deliver the prayer over the graduating class. And he got up there to pray, and he prayed this scathing prayer that we would never be able to crook anybody or do anything else. And I was like, you got to be careful who you let pray at a public place.
Oh,
And that was probably the best lesson I ever learned in law school.
Oh, all right. Well, on that note, we have a proposed agenda before you. What's the pleasure of the board?
I move we accept the agenda as presented.
I second.
Okay, it has been motioned and second. All in favor by the show of hands, and that is unanimous. Our old minutes were mailed and emailed to everybody. Or emailed everybody. I don't get no mail no more. So, what's the pleasure of the board on the old minutes?
I so move that we accept the old minutes that was emailed to us.
Okay.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. It has been motion and second. Are there any discussion or correction on the old minutes? If not, all in favor by the show of hands. And that is unanimous. Okay, Mr. Steve is on you.
Okay. Ms. Holt, are you ready?
I am.
Yeah, come on up and have a seat.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Again, I'm Angela Holt. I'm the CEO of Middle Flint Health and Wellness, formerly known as Middle Flint Behavioral Health. I've been before you guys before. We are still seeking an extra board member from Dooley County. You all had someone that was interested, but I think she had a conflict of interest with the Board of Education. Our meetings go on the same days of the month. So we're still in need of another board member for Dooley County to represent you all on Middle Flint's board. I'm not sure if you guys have anyone in mind at this time. I don't have anyone from this area to suggest to you all. So Miss Betty Lamb is doing her due diligence to try to find someone, but we're still in need of a member.
Y'all meet on what day, Tuesdays?
We meet on the third Thursday. Well, now we've decreased our meetings. Instead of meeting each month, we meet once a quarter on the third Thursday of the quarterly month. So our next will be October.
You can coach up on that.
That might be who she talking about. I
That's
don't know.
what she told me.
Yeah, Miss Harper's the one you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
That had agreed, and then there's.
Yeah, she had a conflict. That's
Conflict.
right. That's right. I just want to be sure that you guys have your due diligence with representation on our board. for
We
this
weren't aware that
committee.
she wasn't going to be able to serve, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
news to us. So.
Okay.
Right.
So it's Thursday at noon, 4 times a year.
It's Thursday at 4:30. 4 times a year. That's right. 4:30.
So we change that. No longer monthly, it's quarterly now. I guess I'll update our website.
Where are your meetings held?
We're actually meeting in Montezuma at the Housing Authority Center because we're back to meeting face to face. that location is kind of centralized for our 11 counties.
Right.
Mhm.
What's the overall responsibilities of that board? Is it on
The
there?
Middle Flint Board is a governing board. So as a part of a governing board, they approve our policies and budgets. Usually we have reports from each board member about the needs of the community to address. For instance, one of the things that Ms. Betty has brought to our attention, which is something that we were very well aware of, is the lack of services, accessible services in Dooley County. So with that, and with Betty Lamb at the forefront of that, we are having a community collaborative meeting here in Vienna on September the 25th. That's Monday, at 10 at the Vienna Methodist Church. I think that's the name of the church that she's having it at.
Is it 10?
It's from 10 to 12, yes, sir. Monday,
Okay.
25th at Vienna United Methodist Church. We've had lots of, we're going to have DBHDD down from the Atlanta. We're going to have a lot of representation from Middle Flint. We have some different folks from Dooley County that are interested, that'll be on site. And it's just a time for us to get all parties involved with and discuss the different needs of the community and develop future plans on how we can address those needs. So if you're available, you're welcome to come to that community collaborative meeting, or share with individuals that you think may have input on the needs of Dooley County. Again, it'll be Monday, the 25th at 10 a.m. at the United Methodist Church here in Vienna. So unless you guys have any other questions or anything, I don't have anything else to share with you this morning.
Do anybody else have any recommendation for that position?
I would recommend Beth English if she's willing to serve, but I don't think she will because of her husband. But I think when that clears up, whatever happens there, I think she'd be an excellent advocate. But I don't want to volunteer for something. I've talked to her about serving on the Board of Health in the past, and she's expressed those same concerns. But this would be something she worked for Middle Flint years ago before she went to Easter Seals. And she's very connected and be a very powerful advocate for our citizens as well as for your board.
You want to get in contact with her first, Steve, before we?
Yeah, I mean, because she just agreed to serve on the Board of Health, so I don't know if she's
Just name and do something.
she can only spread herself so thin. She's energetic, but she's got a lot on her plate right
forgot
now.
about that, yeah.
And just as a reminder, the qualifications to serve on the board is the person can be an elected official, someone in law enforcement, or a community member that personally has experience with the diagnosis of mental health, substance abuse, or IDD, either with themselves or a family member.
Mm.
That would be about everybody.
It would be. It would be. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Went out several times.
Okay. Grant, we're running a little early. You ready?
I'm ready.
Come on up, Will. This is Grant Richardson with the River Valley Regional Commission.
Good morning, Greg. Morning. How are y'all?
If y'all remember, he had sent us a letter. Let me get you the letter here. They sent us a letter that we looked at last meeting about inquiring if we were willing or had interest in applying for a CDBG, a Community Development Block Grant. And if we are, they need to know by 1st of October.
Right, yeah.
So they can start working on the application, because it's a rather lengthy process, cumbersome process.
Right, it is.
And there was a bunch of questions about, what we could do and couldn't do. So I called Grant and asked if he'd come and just answer any questions. One of the misinformation that I had previous years was for if we wanted to go after a housing rehabilitation grant, that I was always told you had to identify a certain
So area-
geographic area. And then within that geographic area, there had to be a high percentage, low to moderate income and substandard housing.
I think that's always been confused and the information hasn't been passed along exactly right back to us. But I think you still would probably need to identify an area. I mean, it can be a large area, but I think I sent you a map.
Yeah, you sent me a map and I got off.
Oh, okay.
And hold on a second. I got, let me see here. I made a copy of what you sent me for everybody, and I got it on the screen also.
Yeah, so the CDBG grants, I guess it's HUD that wants to see concentrations. So there's 3 different concentration maps, but I sent the one that specifically, that map's or at least the census says that area blocked off there, and the magenta is an area that has a high percentage. It says 8%. I don't know what the 8% means, but in those areas, you're supposedly have a higher percentage of homes that have deficiencies, lack plumbing or whatever, it need work basically. And I would suggest doing housing in those areas at least to start with, because that aligns with, because I'm asking me one question, if you do it outside of that area, it's like, well, why didn't you go into this concentration?
And back of this map is from census data, right?
It is.
Okay.
And we know that's not exactly, I mean, Jim's been back and forth with DCA on some of these maps because they're wrong in a lot. I mean, I'm sure that there's more than just that area that has a high concentration of housing need, but that's the tools they give us to use.
Right.
And I would think that would be more competitive to look at an area. And, an area can be just like a square cut out in the southwest corner there or whatever. I think that they don't like a spot, I guess you would call it a spot-based type approach. So if you fixed a house, one house in the north end of the county, and then you went over here and fixed one at the river, and you just had houses being fixed in a spot base, they don't like that, because they want, if you got a area, I don't know, say a 2 square mile area with 5 houses in there, they want to make sure all those properties in that area there's no blight or anything left in there. So they want your approach to say, okay, we're going to fix this area. So if there's 5 houses, and 3 of them may already be, in your target area, some of the houses are going to be standard, so you're not going to do anything with those. But the ones that are not, they want those, all of them addressed, so you're not making an improvement to this house and then the house next door to it doesn't get anything done to it. So at that point, it's like, well, we fixed this, but now you've got this house surrounded by substandard that you're not addressing. So that's where they have issue with when you try to do a more broad scale, I guess. Whereas, in the city, we usually, they pick a street or neighborhood and go after it like that. Of course, it's obviously a phased approach, because Oglethorpe is the most recent housing application, I think, in our region. It's a 22 grant, and it's 12 houses, I believe, is all they can do. And some of those are mobile home replacements, and some is just clearance of vacant, dilapidated structures. And that's something else we've never been clear on, that the county can take possession of a vacant structure, just the structure itself, and tear that down and leave the property with the property owner. So you don't have to take possession of that entire of the land. Now, there's stipulation, the house has to be assessed by somebody that can do an appraisal on it. So I guess your county person could do that, but it's assessed, and when if the home is determined that it can't be rehabilitated, that it'd have to be reconstructed. So it's got to be in where you can't live in it, state condition. At that point, and the county can take ownership of the house itself, the structure, and remove it, and then the property be left to the property owner retain ownership of that. Now they keep so you won't wind up with a bunch of small parcels that you own that's may be hard to get rid of, or you no longer collect tax on.
And I just finished 2 days ago talking about this grant.
Mm-hmm.
Does it include, we can go inside the city limit?
No, that would need to be a city project. I know with infrastructure at 50%, I would have to check on that with housing. I'm pretty sure for housing, the cities would have to do their own program within the limits. I know with infrastructure projects, they allow up to 50% of the beneficiaries to be located out. Some of our cities and counties have overlapping water systems that run a little bit outside, so they allow for, I think it's 50% of the number of people to benefit from that. And with housing, I feel like they're going to be more, it needs to be within your jurisdiction, all the houses.
Mr. Barron, may I
Yes.
ask a question?
Mhm.
I think the question goes beyond what you answered, and we need to probably some follow-up on. We understand that we cannot, I think we understand that we can't go in the city
Mm-hmm.
and use our grant. We understand that. No more than they can come out in ours unless there is that exception.
Right,
What
right.
we're asking for in the background on this prior to your involvement in this conversation that's been going on for a couple of years, so you know, and is we don't have the areas of concentration that we need in the county to meet any of the criteria because we are so sparsely populated. And so if we were able to join with a city in a request, say Unadilla, for instance, we may have some things that are in the district or the identified area that are in the city and out of the city that would then, where they wouldn't qualify, we wouldn't qualify. But if we went together, we could qualify. And Unadilla is not the best example because they do have their own programs like Vienna does. The better examples are the other 4 cities that have zero ability to gather any of that information together. For instance, if we went to Lilly and we had some things right outside on the outskirts of Lilly toward Weeks Road, that area, and we had within Lilly, we might be able to parcel together enough with the 2 jurisdictions. And that's what I think the frustration has been, is that we were told by a previous grant writer that worked with your organization, not for, but with, that we didn't qualify for anything because of all this. And we've been told at seminars or at meetings, we've been told, oh, yeah, that it's available because we did it in our community. So we're hearing 2 different stories. And we're wondering if there's a possibility of collaboration. And we want to look into that. And there maybe this is where we make the exception in the rules, and we can apply to do that because of the uniqueness of our situation. Because it would seem to me, from a legal standpoint, that these programs are meant for rural areas,
Right. Yeah.
And if the rural areas are those definitions are made by human beings, and those definitions sometimes can be influenced by policy, and the policy can be for the bigger places. Okay?
Right.
Because it's cost less, supposedly, because you've got more competition and so forth. And they don't think outside the box. They don't think about rural poverty. Okay? And that's what the whole purpose of this is to address. And so we may have to challenge them, and we're willing to go to certain length to challenge them to work together and meet our needs for our citizens. And if that means us having to not just look at a piece of policy and say, oh, we don't check it because we've already had that. Okay?
Right.
And if it means we've got to be creative, I think this board will go a little bit, and I don't go all the way, but they'll go a little bit to say, what can we take this to the next step? Maybe not all the way to the end, but we want to look a little bit further than what we've been told, because we think that this money is not reaching our people because of the definitions. And those definitions could be changed politically at a higher level, not you, not us,
Right,
but
right.
you know, whatever. But we need to know that information so that we can go back and be advocates for our people and get the governor or the legislature or both to agree to redefine some of those programs within the parameters that the state has possibilities.
Mhm.
I understand it's federal money, but the federal usually gives it to the state to promulgate regulations. And so the legislature approves it, and then the regulations come out, and that's where all the devil is in the details.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we need a technical person such as the River Valley to advise us where we need to go next. And if we need to hire an expert beyond what y'all do, because that's beyond your scope, let us know and give us some suggestions, and we'll be glad to go that route, I think, to the next level. And I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think that's what we're trying to get to here.
Well, in his email, he's done some preliminary looking at
Right.
some of the data, very preliminary.
Right. Yep.
But he, according to his email, he's saying it looks like down in this area along the Franklin Road area that there would be a potential to identify an area that would stand a good chance of getting funded. Because we don't ever know, you'll never know till you submit something.
Exactly.
But
Does this cover mobile homes and modular homes?
It does.
See, it used to, that's what was told to us. It used to wouldn't.
Huh. Now,
And
some
I
community-
worked in the program, so I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
May I address the mobile home issue?
Uh-huh.
That can be a misnomer, and this can be why what he's saying is true and what you're saying is true.
Okay.
Okay? It gets down to, is the mobile home taxed with the land? Or do you have a sticker on it where it's, you see what I mean? I think that was the distinction in the past, and I may be wrong, but I think, you can pay your tax one or two ways on a mobile home, or you used to. And if you pay it where it's with the land, I think the program would go with it, because even though it's mobile, modular, whatever you want to say, it could be moved, and what they're looking at is permanency. And so if the citizen were willing to transfer that over, and I think a lot of times what happens is that we run into, take it to the next level, is we're on our family property. And we've been paying the tax on it. And it's air property. And they ain't gonna touch that. And that's the reason we have the sticker on the mobile home that we've been there for 20 years, because we
That's
can't
right.
put it to the land. And so that's where we go with the Appleseed project. And we've had some success of that in Unadilla, of getting them to clear that title because they've got grant money to do that. But a lot of times we've got to go in there and solve other people's underlying generational legal problems before we can get to the stuff that's here now. And that's a separate issue. And the taxpayer doesn't understand it, because Susie Q's getting hers done, and I've lived here longer than she has. Does that help?
Yeah, cause I ran, every time I tried to do something, I tell a person and lead them on, you hit the nail on the head. That's what it really wasn't their property anyway. It was air property, and all kind of liens on it and everything. And
Well,
ain't nobody knows,
air
so.
property is HEIR.
Yeah, I know.
But we in the legal field, we call it air property because the title is in the AIR.
Yeah.
Where it is, we don't know.
That's right.
all right, but say just hypothetically we agreed. All right, let's try to go after an area on Franklin Road. What would be the next step?
Y'all would need to identify, draw out the targeted area. Obviously gonna draw a boundary somewhere in that area. So draw that area out, and we can get a household survey to send out for it, just like a regular census type survey, and have a bunch of questions like
Now, is that something y'all would assist us with, or is that
Yes.
something we would? Okay.
Yeah, we get the survey out, then once they turn them back in, we can see what the need is there. Because it asks their income and all that too, because obviously they have to meet low income to be eligible. So from there, depending on how high the need is, we'd have to then kind of narrow down.
And the initial area you define may not be the area you wind up submitting
That's right.
based on the results of the surveys you get back.
That's right.
But the surveys would help you sort of
because 10 or 12 houses is roughly what a full $1 million grant's going to be able to do. And that depends on how much work each unit needs. So, of course, your area may be bigger because not all houses are going to need work, which that's fine. We're trying to identify an area that has need and bring the whole area up to a standard is really what the program's doing. But yeah, once that's surveyed and you just say, okay, we're going to go after this, then you send out a housing application. We get those distributed, and usually the program is you'll have policies and procedures. You don't have it before, but it's usually first come, first serve. So first one that turns it in gets top priority, and then you can prioritize by elderly, or if it's multiple children or whatever. And you've got flexibility at the county to set your policies and procedures. That'll be your guidebook for how you manage your own housing program.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
You said for $1 million,
so I can say, so what's
only
the,
10 or 12 houses?
yes,
Where's the money go?
rehabs. Some of it's reconstruction, so some houses are completely demolished and rebuilt,
Yeah.
brand new. So, in mobile homes, $10,000 is your maximum there for rehabilitation. So if it's more than that, you have to buy a new unit to move in there and remove the old.
See, that's what, we need to work with, along with you all, so we can get those guidelines. Because everybody think they get the same amount of money. It just depends on how it's written.
Right.
Yeah, how it's written up, and because one house might need windows and the other one might not.
But
One might need a roof and the other one might not. So it just depends on it. We don't want to limit it to just, because we were just talking 27 would have some places on it, but there should be other. How far can we go outside that area right there? Because I know probably places all around.
That was just me looking on the. I just basically went down to the bottom corner.
but you do suggest it stay within this,
I would say, yeah.
because this is, the census has designated this as a,
Right, and that kind of.
Okay, I'm trying to see you.
right, we got two, I mean, so,
And
Well,
that
we gotta-
that gives you a justification as like, why did you pick your target area? It's like, well, this area fell within this designated housing deficiency area. That gives you one. Because they like all this planning information. How did you pick it and why did you pick it and all that kind of stuff.
So you can only have one target area?
That's what I was saying. We should.
You can't do one here and one there?
Not the same year.
Not the same year?
Right, not the same application.
I think you can have multiple areas. It just depends on how many units are in. Right.
Yeah.
So if that big area only had like 2 or 3 houses, yeah, you could.
Oh, yeah. That's
As long as each area gets everything addressed, as long as.
Oh, okay.
Because see, when I did it in Macon County, I went all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't just one specific area.
Yeah.
It was spread out, but it was told in Dooley County we couldn't do that. But same people run the
Because I
same.
can think of 3 or 4 there,
Yeah.
3 or 4 there. But you said something about 10 or 12. That don't necessarily mean that's just the total, not total in that area.
Right, just the
Yeah.
total. Yeah, that's roughly the total. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just based on a recent project.
Right.
Yeah, it's expensive.
If you identified 7 areas that had 5 houses apiece, and you were only going to do 2, or you're going to only be able to do X in that, you could have so many that qualify, but not everybody in that area. You could have all of them in one area, or all of the other, but you're going to have different little spots. So I guess the question is, how many spots can we get? Because it may take several to get it all together.
I'll have to reach back out and see, make sure that. I mean, I feel like if we get too many spots, they may. I don't know. It may think
Well, then how regular can we apply for the grant?
Okay, what
every 2 years.
What he's about
If
to
it's
say,
fun, yeah.
and is hesitant to say, is what I was thinking when the question was asked, is they're going to make sure that we're not doing political favors for our friends. And that's the reason they don't want to. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but they have a limitation for a reason, because they've seen this happen in other communities. Not that we would do that, but that's what they're thinking. And that's not the case here, because everybody needs a favor below below the poverty line. Everybody needs the benefit of this. But I think they want to make sure that it's a fair geographic area that you're doing it in. That's all I think. So that it's not your neighbors in your neighborhood.
For CDBG, I know cities and all, they use it for infrastructure and water and all. What do other counties that don't have, like us, we don't have a water system, we don't have a sewage system. Outside of housing, what do other counties use their CDBG money for?
Economic development would be, and we're not doing anything with that in our region, so that would be about it.
Economic development, meaning
Well, I mean, that would be extending infrastructure or either providing loans to a company to buy equipment for starting up a business or expanding a business, that kind of stuff. It's generally tied to job creation.
Well, I guess the question is, we definitely, because we want to meet again after the first, so we need to go ahead and tell them today we want to do.
Oh, yeah. He can't leave out of here without us.
Yeah.
No, he can't. No,
Back to that air property. Yeah, the homeowners. I mean, they have to own the home and land that they're in there to qualify.
According to the definitions of the program, because in their minds they own it.
Right. Yeah. If it's air property, that has to be resolved. Yeah, the person living there, it needs to be titled in their name.
Because they'll argue with you that it's theirs, because it is, and nobody wants it except them.
And
they can't sell it.
And they have to provide proof of ownership. Yeah, they have to give us a copy of the deed. I mean, not at the application phase, but before we can sign any contracts and do work on their home, they have to provide proof of income and home ownership. And all taxes and everything are paid in full usually.
Who manages the projects, the bids? Is that y'all's group does all that?
Yes.
That doesn't come back. We don't have anything to do with it once we receive the money. Correct?
Right. The administration would come from our office on it.
Y'all would accept bids. Y'all would oversee the work.
Right. Because each house is its own project more or less with housing.
Well, getting back to that note, to answer David's question, it depends on who you know and what you know. It's a lot of rubbing shoulders. And yeah, I'm telling you the truth. It's a lot of rubbing shoulders, and then sometimes it's just monopolized by one or two people. And the way it was explained to me in the beginning, they had me going to Atlanta to lead-based shops and not workshops and all this kind of stuff. And then when time to do the work, they pacified me and they gave me one house. But going back to what they said, it's sort of political. They gave the budget all the rest of them, and that wasn't, I didn't think that was fair to the people in the community when they should have had a fair shot, working on their houses like everybody else. But no, they got all their budgets and all that kind of stuff. And I can tell you all about that program right there, the CDBG, because I worked in it for a while. And yeah, but he seemed like to be on the up and up.
No county or commission manages. We can't dictate any of that part.
We don't have anything to do with the award.
They're the one that, like I said, they're the one that targeted and picked the houses and all that kind of stuff.
Right. The contractors have a contract with the homeowner, not with the county. The infrastructure project, it would be the county. But
the homeowner picks who does the work.
Mm-hmm.
So
supposedly.
On the award of the work, is there a time frame of when it has to be started and completed once they do meet all the red tape requirements?
Yes, the grants are supposed to be completed within 2 years. Most housing grants, almost all of them run over. So yeah,
right. So
usually 3 years or so.
So if we were awarded 20 houses and we had one contractor that's trying to do all 20 houses, there's an advantage to splitting them up so that they all get done within that time frame.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure we're not going to be GC
No, it
12
housing never been like that.
From here.
The last person that was over there, they did. The only thing they we can ask who, but we didn't have anything really to do with it. We didn't have nothing to do with it.
other than the building inspection aspect.
I was gonna
of it.
say, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think usually the building inspector, periodically checks and makes sure things are being built like it's supposed to be.
And plus, they had their own
Yeah.
inspector too.
That's his job. That's not because it's the grant. That's just because the project's going on. He's doing his job.
Right, he's
Right.
doing his job
Yeah,
as
but they had their own personal inspector.
So what would be the next step if we want to proceed?
Take a vote.
Identify, where you want to go with the program, and get surveys going out there and go from there. I think, or anywhere you pick, you're gonna have probably quite a few phone calls from other people in the county wondering why they didn't get picked. So
I can answer that for you. Yeah, they could. Don't take but one person. They might not know nothing else. But when it comes to the high and stuff,
well, I know they're not getting it, somebody else is. But
So it's okay if we direct those calls of why they didn't get it to the River Valley Regional Commission? Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
that's right.
No, I don't believe that's what he's saying.
So,
All right, first question, do y'all want to try to go after a grant?
oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then what area are we gonna go after? Let me go see if I can find a map.
What are you said houses that you identify, are there income barriers and all of that for the?
there are, and that's part of the purpose of the survey that was sent out. It's got those questions, and if they claim they're low income, I mean, hopefully that's the case when it comes to doing their houses. Because we don't verify it during the application phase, it's only verified when it's time to start spending money.
That W-2, they had their. I remember another lady that was in it. All that had to be submitted, to them before they had to actually have proof.
Oh yeah.
Of their income. Because sometimes we sort of fudge the truth. But I know all of Vine and Table probably got areas that they probably won't.
Well, if I may say, why don't we address it from a standpoint of, we have tools available to us. We have Q Public. You may write and say, well, there's two houses. Well, if you go on Q Public, you may be dealing with the air situation, so you might as well just move on. Don't get bogged down on that right there. And then when someone asks that question, why didn't I? Bam, and this is why. And you don't get bogged down with that type of stuff. And, you probably got areas in Yenalgo, you and Tony, where y'all can look. Areas down here,
I got a
Dana
bunch
and I
of them.
can look. We've
Yeah.
already talked about two roads running parallel, that, hey, we know there's some houses here, some houses there. And, but we need to kind of do some due diligence on the front end so that y'all are not bogged down with all this ownership stuff.
Right.
I mean, that just throws an anchor out when you're trying to qualify people.
Right, because I mean, you have to get an attorney to try to clear that air property up to do anything with
That's
those.
right. And possibly sometimes we will already know,
Right.
or we can ask the question.
It's definitely easier to have a clean slate of ownership than trying to deal with a bunch of air properties in the area.
Because we have our share of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
I got some
more
of those
so
on Byron
in our little towns.
Okay.
Still does it.
All right, so
Ain't lately.
how do y'all want to proceed?
Well, I think we can't target an area today.
No, but I think soon we gonna need,
don't think so.
I reckon, what I'm hearing is maybe y'all submit a
Yeah.
section of road.
There you go.
Right. In my area, I'm gonna go out and,
And then we can do some, like what you're talking about, what's,
Right.
identify what's air property.
Right, check these out.
So it wasn't nothing on the right side over there that qualified, off
No.
the census.
Not according to the census, not on the east side of
Y'all make
75.
too much money, you're devil.
Yeah, right. Air property. But I know a couple, 4 or 5 houses that's in the county that, might qualify. And like he said, 2 or 3 there, that's gonna be $1 million gone.
Well, think about these older mobile homes.
Yeah. Oh,
They
man.
sitting out there,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of ownership.
And see, that grant, when it's written up, it still has to go down to Jekyll Island.
Has to do what now?
Jekyll Island.
Is the award ceremony still in Jekyll?
Approved.
It is in Augusta this time.
Okay.
So they said-
He just wants to know where he's gonna
Oh, I
get,
got
where he
you.
gets to go to pick up the big check. He's already envisioned that big check he's gonna get.
Yeah, cause I had to take my dually truck down there. It was so big, I had to have something real strong to bring it back.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'll have
Let's
to
go.
check on, so some of these mobile homes the home is owned by the person, but the land it's sitting on is not. That may be, I'll have to check and see if that's allowable, because, I mean,
I don't
Cause normally they're renting the land,
right.
and rental doesn't count in any of this stuff.
No, it needs to be owner occupied.
All right, so if we meet again in 2 weeks, that's October the 5th. If I can get you,
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
okay. All right, any other questions for Grant?
I'm glad you made contact. I knew it was somebody out there.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're trying to get a grant, I would go with Grant.
That's how I turned the break.
Okay, all right.
And,
Anything else, Mr. Chairman?
No,
Thank you. That's all.
no.
Thank you, Grant.
You don't mention Lily. You may be able to do a joint application. There's a joint application option in both.
But Doolin too, and
But-
Byronville.
But, but in the past, we try to approach, the cities can go after their own money.
That's right, they can.
So in theory, Dooley County would get more money if we did our application and each city did their own
That's
application
right.
also.
I think Lily's. I think they did one recently.
I don't know.
They did.
But again,
Okay.
most
They
cities-
just recently did
most
one.
cities
Okay.
have to get for their
Yeah, no, they
infrastructure.
finished.
Oh, they are?
They
And
did do
like
all
Lilly,
that.
They would probably
Okay.
need
Yeah, I thought I remember
Water.
seeing that award.
sewage.
See, that's what I went to the city council meeting and I saw them put Eugene on the spot, but because Lily doesn't have no city sewage.
Okay.
Okay, and
It's costly.
it's Doolin is the same way. They don't have it. They don't have it either. And I say only time you fail in life is when you don't try. And I said, at least you all need to. I told the city council, at least you need to try to research it out
Well, they
and
missed out.
see.
Well, they missed out on the opportunity that water and sewer money that came through the governor's office could have been used there.
What those communities need, we can't offer, other than the suggestions they consult with an engineer that is aware of these resources and can be an advocate for them like Byronville did,
Yeah,
for their water.
that's why I know Eugene and y'all did a great
Right.
job. Of
So-
it. So,
But again, I think that you gotta recognize that they have a political authority for a reason. And we can help, but we can't run their city as much as
I
we.
told them.
Mhm.
They got their own government.
Right, but we come here wanting money.
And before we even got started, I already had everything on my paper. I forgot to add to the agenda. I forgot.
Yeah. Thank you, Grant.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I'll follow up on some of these questions and see if we
Okay.
get more clear answers.
Here's, I think particularly about the mobile homes.
Yeah,
on
Ownership,
Yeah.
land ownership.
Land ownership. Yeah. Okay,
All right.
thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rodney, why don't you come on up while you're here? I know you got other things to be doing. We've got a couple items on the agenda that affect him potentially. Let me go to item number 7, just you got 7. The Jalapa Road project.
Yeah, I've been hit with that too.
Okay, the engineer is advertising for bids. The bid opening is scheduled for October the 3rd here at this office. So you'll have those bids before our next meeting. So
And so how we looking?
he's we don't know. He's taking bids on several different options.
Mhm.
So we just have to wait and see how the bids come in.
Yeah, I was with Lance a little while yesterday morning, and we don't know anything yet. Like I said, he threw about 3 different options out.
Yeah.
Gonna see how that goes.
And then basic option are going back with, some sort of pipe like there
Mhm.
on the lower end, and then a box covered on the upper end, just to see how the prices come in. Until we get that, we really don't know much of anything.
What kind of prices? And I know we don't know what it's gonna be, but what the money range goes?
I mean, DOT is committed 90% of the cost of the project,
Mhm.
up to a maximum of funding from them of $300,000.
Okay, I remember that. So that's what I saw told 2 people.
So
And then how much they're gonna, now what about us? Now what we gonna have involved in?
well, like I said, DOT is going to fund 90% of it, up to 300,000. So if the bids come in under 300,000, we'll just have 10%.
Okay.
If the bids come in over 300,000, we're going to have 10% of 300,000 plus whatever's over 300,000. 100% of what's over 300,000.
And that with us doing the work.
No, we're not doing the work.
They're gonna
This is bidding it out. Contractors will be doing
the whole
this.
9 yards. Okay. All right.
So, all right, got that. And then item number 9 on the agenda, we need to start thinking about what projects we want to submit for next year's LMIG. And I got a handout here for everybody.
Can I ask Mr. Hare a question about,
Yeah. Go on.
I saw on, 3rd District Road, they started, stripping the sides of the road about 3 or 4 months ago. And then what happened?
That is, that's the money, I guess the state is funded, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, for accidents on the road. It's gonna upgrade the striping, the signs, the raised pavement markers. And they went ahead and clipped the shoulder because they gotta get to that area to work. While they were doing Little Creek Road. And while they had the equipment here, they told me they were gonna get all that done from Unadilla to 27th before they left. And I've been waiting on the update on when they're coming back on that. I hadn't heard.
Well, they did it like 3 or 4 months ago. Now they done stopped. So
Yeah, well, I was with the engineer yesterday morning, and they're supposed to be in the county, this week, starting with the paving, which, that'll be, Parker Store and, Slush Out, doing the, leveling base on it. I don't know, can't hold them to that, but they're supposed to. And looks like the resurfacing, which they come back and put the rock on, they kind of lagging behind. I think they was going to Pulaski this week. So who knows? And the paving season's kind of.
I defend the action now. It's coming about to an end on the paving season.
It is.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's where we're at. I'm just waiting on them. I hope they come and they do Parker Store first, because that road, I got several cuts on it. We had to replace the pipe on. Now, Slush Out didn't have to do anything because all those pipe were concrete through there. They're fine. I mean, we just need to get the road leveled and resurfaced. Matter of fact, I moved the sidearm machine or multi-machine from River Road up there this morning and start at Pleasant Valley, because this should have done it already, but trimming the tree growth coming in on the highway and try to get a jump on them. So as soon as they come on, maybe they'll get it done.
I saw a Barber Petroleum truck following
That's another problem.
excavator.
We'll get talking about that in just a minute.
No, my good news.
But on LMIG, the first page of what you got, this was the list of projects that were suggested for consideration last year. And I've marked through the 2 that Parker Store and Slush Out Trail is what were the LMIG project for 2023. So look at this list. If you got any other roads that you think ought to be added to the list for consideration, now's the time to be throwing them out there. 'Cause we'll get the engineer to look at them and come up with a cost estimate. These cost estimates are last year's cost estimates, so they ain't no longer any good. And last year our LMIG funding for 23 was 673,000. For next year, it's 719,000. So to get all of that, we got to match it 10%. So our match is going to be 71,000. So we can, to get all of DOT's funding, we'll have to spend $791,000 next year. And just humor me. We got a few minutes this morning. Y'all just humor me for just a second here. I want y'all to look at a road. Where's what I'm looking for? All right, now you go. This is a county maintained paved road.
I don't see nothing on it but some, well, not too much even that
No,
either.
this isn't the good part.
Oh wait, yeah, this is the better part of it.
You showed us from last year.
No stripes.
This video was taken a month ago maybe.
Where is this located? You know.
It don't matter.
I know
do y'all think this road needs resurfacing?
It widen too. Wait, man.
It's coming up there.
Is that your house?
It's not my house. I live nowhere near this.
That's my job.
Now we'll be on the
No,
dirt
they
road.
have took the words out of my mouth.
Now
That's
we'll
Dirt
on
would
the
be
dirt road.
better than this.
That's a little shaky, but I was
I don't
on
know
the
about
drive
that.
and I wasn't filming.
They've been patched.
That's in Dula County.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Two families have to go down this road. There's two more that can go out another way. But two families have to go down that road every day to get out.
Eugene, that's in
It
your.
looks like it's on Slosh Eye Trail somewhere.
Well, I said I ride this road on a golf cart so I can avoid the potholes.
Is that near the lake?
This is off Slosh Eye Trail. This is Flint Rock Trail off of Slosh Eye Trail going back into Slosh Eye Estates.
Mhm.
What
See
kind
where
of
that
road?
spray tip wasn't
What
sprayed
kind of
down.
road was that versus
When they
what?
paved it,
Well,
they
see,
went down the
unfortunately,
spray tip wasn't sprayed.
This was when this subdivision initially got developed. None of these were county roads. And the developer approached the county back then about taking over maintenance of these roads. And the county said, you get them paved and we'll accept them.
So they paved them.
They paved them, but not it appears not necessarily to DOT specs.
What year was
That's
that?
the sheriff's house right there.
So that's over him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where did you start from? I mean, like
This is
how long a drive you
That's
doing
Craig's
now?
house right there.
That came from
But see, he
Slosh
can
Eye
turn
Trail.
right.
Sir?
That came off Slosh
Go
Eye
out.
Trail.
And go.
Okay. So how long
See, that
how
road's
long is that
different.
road?
I meant to look, see how long that road is now. I failed to do that.
I want to say it was
So that's-
third, wasn't
this
it
is
third
in
of a
Dula
mile?
County.
Flint Rock
Oh,
Trail.
it's more than that.
How many? I mean, I think putting it on there, but I mean, we can't. I can tell now we can't do that whole road in 1 year.
No, that road's less than a mile.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's not.
Hold on a second.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
that right there, in the process of the history you were just given, is why you have ordinances now, and why you have a building inspector now that enforces it, and all the pain that you may go through with complaints about him going by every little standard. That right there is what got by because there would have been a performance bond. And those problems, I'm not a road person, I bet those problems showed up sooner than later, and they would have been covered by a bond had they been required to do that. But because of the way it came about, it probably didn't get done that way, because we just wanted them paved. And no fault of anything, but we don't take a lot of subdivisions.
Not but a third of them.
Yeah. In other words, this sort of created their own subdivision.
Right, that's a,
Mhm.
0.376.
anyway, that's,
right.
I thought you were
and
smiling.
we probably have other roads very similar to that.
Oh, yeah. We can definitely add.
Yellow Fly Plantation.
Well, on that note, then,
He got two
what about the Bucker Road out there? Did we ever, what's the update on it? The road.
Buckles Road with the air property.
Guy called me this morning, wanting 2 more. He's building 2 more houses.
He was.
Chairman Barron
You
inquired
talking
about,
new pavement,
Yeah, no payment.
Yeah.
What's the question, sir?
He was handling.
I said, what's the update on, what's the name of the road, Steve?
Buckles
Yeah, Bucker
Road.
Road. I had it right then.
Obtaining the right of ways on Buckholz Road.
Had some air property on it.
Right, I spoke with Mr. Buckholz. He's come to the county commission a couple of times, and I've given him direction, on how to get it cleaned up. And he's not gotten back with me.
Okay. Now what about the road on the other side of Byronville? About
Somerville.
the turn of
Somerville Road.
Somerville Road.
Okay, we have updated the request, but we need to get with the landowners or, get them to sign off on it.
Mhm.
And I think that some are willing and some are not.
So that's been the latest update? So it says someone.
Nothing you can do.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking that.
There's nothing we can't force anybody to do it
No,
unless we go in and we're willing to condemn it.
Right, exactly.
And I
That
don't,
was air property you were dealing with over there too, but
one of them was.
did they figured all that out?
No one's gotten back to me about that.
Did you hear anything about Heath Road from anybody? They never did call you.
Where's Heath?
That's what Bob and Dino live. I'm only missing one person now that won't sign. Everybody else will sign. But the people that own it, go to Heath Road, on the trees, the big tree place out there, they was gonna call Bert and
No. Let's get everybody that's willing to sign and
That's
get
what I
them filed
want y'all to do.
now.
Yeah.
Because
won't change
then
their mind.
10 years from now, we'll already have it. If the property changes hands or those people pass, we don't have to go through an estate. While you got someone willing to do it, let's get it done and it binds the
That's
land. And we got to go a little bit at a time, because by the time we get up to it, somebody's going to have changed that was willing,
What you waiting on?
and not that unwilling. It may have they've sold it.
Oh, it
or
wasn't
they-
you.
I can only do so much now.
It's the internet. I'm sorry. I thought you was like, what are you doing?
But the one, the one out of the people that wrote that letter to us, okay, I know one of the original people were dead, and the kids. So the kids are the ones.
Keep on looking weird.
So the kids are the one that's holding up.
They need to run the estate if they haven't. And I haven't gone to check the estate, but I think that at the initial time I looked at that, the estate had not been run. I may be mistaken, but I think that was the issue. And they were like, well, why do we have to run the estate? And again, that was not on that one. It was on another one where they said, well, we own it because it was mama's or daddy's. It may not have been them. I don't want to put words in my mouth, but I run into that. They come and tell a political story, but when we get to the legal aspect of it and we ask for requirements, we don't hear anything back.
Because I figured about time for them to call me and want to know what's going on.
Well,
So,
the issue is if they have the legal authority to sign the deed, that is, they run the estate and they're willing to sign the easement, say, then yes. But we can't as a county go and probate the estate for
That's
them.
fine. There's not, okay. So that's Heath Road right
Yeah.
there.
Everybody willing to
we
sign.
don't want the, I'm like you, we don't want
right
the
there to
other
the
fellow to
right.
change his mind
Right
and
there.
finally gave
It's like
permission
6 people.
Right, and that's what we've run into since I've been
Herrings
county
and
attorney on these. I
shrimp,
grew them up when I first
shrimp
got
And
here.
Charlene.
And we hand them to the county
Stephen.
commissioners.
Ain't got the
Some of
sign
it
yet.
changed seats.
Uh-huh.
And so here,
There's
take them out and get them
several of them.
signed. And they say, sure, I'll get back
Them
with
the
you.
only
And
ones
then
now that
they don't.
holding back.
And then when we
And
go
then we can
next
do
time, 5 years, 10 years down the road,
They do
look
all the
at it,
time, ain't there? You can-
we've had somebody
Nothing
pass
condemn-
away or
You don't condemn
move
somebody's
or
property
sell
just
or
for
whatever.
one little bit, bro.
In some of these, there's a couple of these where there's a mortgage involved and you've got to get the bank to sign off on it, and they're just not willing to
Hmm.
go get the bank to sign it. And the bank will gladly sign off on it because
Oh,
it
yeah.
improves the property.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But they've got to take that step.
Okay. Anything else about
When do
roads?
we have to have this figured out?
We just need to start working on it. Because like I said, we'll get a list, then we'll narrow the list down to get the engineer to sort of go grade them, because we don't want to, we got to pay the engineer to go grade them, so we don't want to give him 50 roads. But y'all start submitting some roads and then we'll go from there. Okay, let's go back to the agenda. To item number 10.
You can go in that. That's Flint Rock.
Yeah.
I don't know who they that's your district. Yeah.
We had hoped to have some bids from motor graders today, but for new motor graders, but we'll have it hopefully by the next meeting. So
I've got 1, 2 coming, supposed to be.
right, we've got one from John Deere, but we want to get one from Cat and get one from the post and Tyler and stuff there. So we'll have that next meeting hopefully. Then let's see. Item number 13. And I just wanted to mention this driveway pipe policy. Now we require, if somebody wants a driveway pipe and so they're putting a pipe, they're requesting a pipe be put on our right of way. We require it to be concrete pipe. That way you ain't putting in a metal pipe and then 10, 15 years down the road, it's gonna be rusted out. Okay. What do we do? Well, what we do now, if somebody currently has a metal driveway pipe and it rusts out, they request a new one. The county's just always put in a new pipe at our expense.
I thought they had to pay for the pipe.
That's what I thought too.
That's what I'm suggesting we start doing. If we're making new people put in concrete pipe to avoid having to replace that metal pipe down the road, I don't think it's the county's place to replace a metal pipe, that's an existing metal pipe that gets rusted out, because it ain't the county's fault.
But you're saying we're replacing an existing metal pipe and they're not even buying the metal pipe? That hasn't been the policy.
That's what's been done.
We're replacing the metal pipe that's in there with concrete, but the county's footing the bill.
Yeah. When, I
Okay.
thought even, we talked about this a year ago, the homeowner had to pay for the pipe.
That's
Whether it was metal, concrete,
Whatever,
plastic.
yeah.
That's on, well, we do that now on someone on a new request. But he's speaking of, like, just say that pipe's been in there 25, 30 years and rots out. County, that's all what we've always done is go back and replace it, put the concrete in it, and they don't pay nothing.
Yeah, there's a misnomer about right of way, okay? Number one, it's their property and we have the right to use it for certain purposes for the road. But they're using that drive, they're going across their own property, and what they're asking us to do, because it's a right of way, they think we should pay for it. That's just not gonna happen. Under a legal standpoint, it shouldn't happen going forward.
so y'all okay from now on?
Right.
It should have
And
been.
what's our policy on what kind of pipe they can put in there? If they did it on their own, because can't a property owner put a pipe in to access their property on our right of way?
As long as it meets our requirement.
What's our requirement?
It's got to be concrete. I mean, the way we do now, I had a guy call me a while ago. He's putting in 2 more houses in Yellowfly Plantation down at the river. And, I told him, I said, just put a flag in the center where you want the pipe. I go find out what diameter it's gonna take. Normally it's a 24-foot drive, 3 joints. Now if they bring it in big stuff, they usually expand. I call them back, this is what it's gonna cost. And all they pay for is the pipe.
But up north of the county, we had that guy, he put his, I'm saying if they put their own in, do we require a certain spec?
We do, I don't know what he ever put in. You talking about on 5 Point?
Yeah, he put in plastic pipe.
Oh, that guy up there on the North County line.
Yeah, put in the heavy plastic pipe or whatever. I'm just saying if you,
Well, at that time, that's not good. I mean, he'd already done it. I mean, you seen he didn't know what he was doing. He put crush and run all over the top of it. That first big rain blew everything out. But I spoke with Steve about it. I mean, all I could tell him at that point, because really nothing's in place, is we're not responsible for that pipe. I mean, for replacement or whatever, because we don't do plastic pipe, which I wish we could, because there's so many controlled burns in this county. A lot of things. And not only that, people like to pile their trash in the mouth of the pipe and burn it. And you see it everywhere. And that pipe will sit there and wick like a candle, and you won't realize it. And a car comes along, drives across it, it caves in.
How much does a concrete pipe cost?
Well, I put in a drive on Bryant Road this week, and I did 15-inch, which is the smallest diameter we'll put in, and I put very few in because they don't work well in loose sandy soil because they fill up so quick. But that set was over $700 something.
That ain't bad.
But now you keep jumping up, and and every time I look around, we get a price increase.
Yeah. If it costs $700, our labor is more than that. I believe.
Yeah, they don't pay for the dirt. They don't pay for
That's what I'm saying.
Equipment.
So,
I mean,
yeah, we need to change that thing.
we can
We have a
save some money.
Quick in a
issue
hair.
right
Yeah.
now
Oh, go
It's-
Brooks.
That's crazy, ain't it?
going on currently, or this just?
This is just something I've always had a problem with, and I keep failing to mention it to y'all.
I mean, I know I've asked you to help somebody out there, but I mean, I'd already told that guy he was gonna have to pay for the pipe. You do the work, but he was gonna have to pay for the pipe replacement.
Well, and we're Dooley County. But anyway, I know Pulaski has quit putting in driveway pipe on account of their short-handed. I mean, and I'd mentioned this to Steve. I mean, if most of you contractors, if they doing a new construction, they have access to, I mean, I was in it for years, and they can put the pipe in for the homeowner to take a load off us. I'm just throwing this out there. I mean, can we do it? Yes. But, I got a little frustrated the other week because of an add-on pipe, you familiar? And it consumed more of my time than I wanted. I mean, it just run into one problem after the other, wet, all that. And I got a little frustrated with it because, I needed to be somewhere else. I needed to have that crew in another area working on county roads. And it just come to me, if they met the requirement, I mean, so whether or not we have our inspector look at it or, and confer with me, because he usually gets the notices of a new homeowner, and he'll shoot me an email, they gonna need a pipe here, And then I go out and see what they need and come up with a cost and all that stuff. And I just wonder what would be wrong if that homeowner was allowed to use the contractor they have or hire their own contractor to put it in as long as it met our specifications. And take a load off the county. We don't have, because see, I have to inventory those pipes out there. And matter of fact, I had to order some more before I could do this job. And we have to inventory the pipe and sit on them. And I just wonder what would be wrong with that.
Well, one thing about it, you need to make sure you sort of need to see what's going on, because if it don't drain no water.
Well, that's what I'm saying, inspect.
Yeah, but they're gonna call say, now y'all need to do something about this. But we didn't install it in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
You build that, I mean, why can't the contractor put the pipe?
Yeah, but I ain't saying it couldn't. I'm just saying that it need to be under our specification.
Right.
Yeah. I had that situation in Dooley. I mean, in Lily.
Mm-hmm.
I said, God, dog, man, how, and we didn't want to go back and redo the ditch to make it work. And so it's sort of, even if they put it in, they sort of need to be able to, because they're gonna want to maintain everything that's going on.
I say employees only though. That's out of it.
Yeah, I see your point. I know,
Yeah.
I've done a lot in Houston County up there. I mean, we call for a pipe request, the guy comes out, he sticks a stake up with a paper on it stating what size pipe is up there, we did metal, the state does metal. He put down the specs of what we were supposed to do. I'd get the ditch run, lay the pipe, call him, he'd come up, he'd okay the pipe, I cover it up, that was it. But now he made sure that drainage
That's all I'm talking
was
about
where
right
it's
there.
supposed to be.
Yeah, that the water
He
gonna
made
flow.
sure the diameter was right, whether
Yeah.
or not it needed a safety slope. I mean, we can keep doing it. I mean, ain't no problem.
Now, I ain't saying,
if
I'm
we
just
have-
saying they probably need to call you before.
Right, inspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be up to standard. I mean, I had some on,
We'll come up with a proposed set of standards for us to consider.
I can do that.
It seems like they may be receptive to it, so,
Oh, yeah.
all right, we're moving along. Number 14, the EPD recently came in and did their routine inspection out at the landfill, our old landfill. And they cited us for, all right, let me see if I can figure this out right quick. Where am I at? Let's go to a map.
I didn't want the dogs on.
Yes, sir. Out there by the dog pound. The closed landfill. Where's this? Oh, we way off.
You still on Heath Road.
Yeah.
That's a road you can tell my tone.
Mhm.
So you finally got your road.
He froze. He finally, I thought he was playing with me. But the internet slowed it down.
He's road gonna incur some money because they got to build a bridge down there.
Yeah, I know, eventually, yeah.
That's way out of date.
I thought you was talking about one time skipping Heath and going to the left.
No, skip going to the left.
Yeah,
That's
well,
Cinderella.
yeah.
Well, nobody on Cinderella side, so
Oh, they won't?
no, they won't sign on Cinderella.
No,
They want you to go where the curve at, take out the curve and put a road right through the middle of that swamp. How many millions of dollars that would take? But
Okay, out at the landfill, our old landfill. And I wanted to have an aerial photograph. I couldn't keep public acting squirrely today. So basically we at the landfill looking back to the east here. The railroad's running right along here. Truman Road's right across the railroad. The dog pound is right off the screen right here. We got a sort of a small mountain of here. This is where our C&D landfill that we built up is. I'm sitting on top of the other mountain that was the old municipal solid waste landfill side. Got a drain running through the middle and water's going to the left, and got our sedimentation pond back off to the left. EPD is saying, well, now we got some trees that are growing up on these slopes of this drain, and they're saying we got to get rid of the trees. So I just want to show you what they're talking about. Some of them are fairly good sized trees, and that's a pretty steep slope going down to the bottom of that drain there.
you can't mow with a tractor
But yet we got to get all this cleaned up.
all of a sudden.
all of that,
Yes,
That's
all
a
these
valley.
trees down in here.
man, please.
How wet is that?
I'm gonna take a
Sometimes
bullet
pretty
tracker
wet.
and go down there.
At
Sometimes,
times wet, at times dry.
yeah.
How
it
big
depends.
how big around the trees?
There's some trees out there that been around. Been there forever, and all of a sudden there's a problem.
That's the actual sedimentation pond where all the water's draining to.
So that's we need to stop like right there.
Well, we got to get they want all that cleaned up.
And we have
Well,
cut these on
On
this
the
high
back side of the
before.
pond too? Huh?
I thought they monitor that thing every year. See.
They do, they inspect it quarterly.
Mhm.
And they said they did, there was a reference several years ago on one of their reports about the vegetation, but they never have pressed the issue. Now we got a new inspector.
Mhm. See, now that shouldn't,
Trying to get a name for it.
yeah.
I was thinking about like a bobcat with one of those grinding
Mulching here.
mulching heads on the front.
Well,
All right, and now this is gonna be, now,
That big old tree.
now we're just on the other side, looking back the other direction. The pond is right behind all this.
Those gotta come down right
Yes,
there.
yes.
And
Can
it's very steep.
Can we do this in phases and get rid of the easy stuff first and then satisfy them for a little bit until the inspector decides we've made substantial progress?
Well, we've got to submit our plan to them.
Yeah, that's how government works. Don't nothing happen in a hurry.
And,
I don't say the mulching head would get rid of everything except
Big stuff.
the
You
big
there?
stuff.
oh,
Just see,
So
they love
our
effort.
track
don't
hole, we can go
they?
down.
Effort. Yeah, sure.
Couldn't go down there and push them down.
no. Can't
Wait, it
disturb
wouldn't
the
do it.
dirt. Can't disturb dirt.
Can't stir it. Man,
All right, now,
I-
who says that?
Can't.
Oh, well, how they
This guy was in our
how,
office the other day.
I guess they want you to go down with a chain.
Well, this is what Daryl, he's, I don't know what his capacity is, but he's dealt with them before. He's with the landfill outfit with inspections. But anyway, you can't burn nothing. You can't disturb the dirt. I was on the phone with a gentleman this morning. I got a guy coming tomorrow to look at it and give me what his views are on it. But he's talking about getting it all the way down to where we can keep it mulch with our machine. But say our machine's not gonna work down in there. That wheeled excavator is too wet on the bottom side and it's too steep on the slope side. It'll turn over in a heartbeat.
Mhm.
So I spoke with a gentleman a while ago and he said, oh yeah, he said, I'm happy with that. He said, and what they'll do is people that'll come cut all that. I said, well, now I'm gonna need it cut ground level where we can keep it mowed because I can't spray it either. So he said that they could come and cut them things even with the ground and haul all that out there. They'll do it for Bible mulch. Shoot it in a trailer and carry it with them. If there's any profit off of that, it comes to the county.
You can't spray any of that?
No, they won't even let me spray Roundup around those test wells. They got methane and water wells that they check periodically.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I knew that was.
And they get a hit of glyphosate in that. I mean, they own you. I said, why can't y'all notate that we're using glyphosate or Roundup around these? Nope, they want you to weed it every bit of it, every time, and keep that slab perfectly clean. But they got a well setting up in the Morgan Farm field right there. They test, don't say a word about it. They spray everything over there. But that's them. But I got one guy coming to look tomorrow and another guy this evening, probably about 5:30, 6 o'clock. He's gonna meet me over there and see if we can come up with a plan so we can submit a plan.
Just want y'all to be aware that this is an issue. And it's probably gonna be an expensive issue.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
It
we're gonna
is.
try to keep it down.
It is what it is. All right, and then item that's not on the agenda, but Commissioner Mixon referenced, the fueling station, the proposed new fueling station.
Come right along. We got it laid out the day before yesterday. Got our filling part with the canopy, kind of like I wanted it to go with the flow of the road, and got it all staked out, marked off, got my graces on it, and they over there now digging. They've already graded off for the tanks. There'll be 3 tanks over there, which will be across the fence in the compound, and they got to be 50 foot from the dispenser. So they're digging the footers now for the canopy pole. It's going to be a 2-pole canopy, 30 by 30, and they're in the process of doing that now. And the thing is, the tanks, I think the company they had originally dealt with went out of business, Steve, something like that. But they still gonna honor that price, the whole 9 yards. They looking at delivery of the tanks around the 1st of November. So they're actually doing this project in reverse. They're going ahead and getting everything in place, all the plumbing. So when the tanks come, they just come set the tank and hook them up. So we'll be ahead of the game.
Do they buy that, what's it called? It's a, not an excavator, it's the one with the bucket on the front end, the digger on the back.
Back up.
Backhoe.
That Sandy,
Did they buy that, or?
you ran it?
I left Pinehurst Travel and they pulled that brand new thing out from Sandy and a Barber truck was following it. I said, well, we're getting local, some local
Yeah, they renting it.
money.
I asked him how he liked it, but anyway, they making headway over there.
Anything else for Rodney while he's here?
We're gonna need a fuel attendant, do windshields and all. Anybody's interested part-time?
We'll be looking for that.
Keep it on your list.
We gonna take that, it pay right.
We thought we'd staff that with the community.
All right, moving right along. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Okay, so let's get back to the agenda.
Doing the whole thing.
Let's go back.
you. See them people come every quarter, and that's big right there.
Yeah, for that gas.
Yeah, now all of a sudden, though,
Yeah,
they
but that's what I was
mean,
saying.
like,
Yeah,
they ain't fair to us.
right, exactly.
New inspector.
Yeah.
New inspector.
You keep duplicating from blowing up, so they have to come check the methane.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all should have a copy of the financial report for August. Take that, look at it. If you got any questions, we'll be glad to try to answer them. The new EMS station, things are still proceeding and they're still planning to be able to move in sometime next month. Don't know exactly when, but
Get resolved the issue.
it seems to have.
New
I
Ford.
just couldn't see that.
Sir?
I wouldn't have never even cut the sheetrock. That to me, that just didn't make no sense at all. I mean, it just didn't. The water, it did. You can look at the wood and tell the water did not, cause it treated. It did not. It had to suck it up to go up the.
It wasn't that, but what a day.
Right, I think, and the water couldn't have got that high.
Mhm.
It just it didn't compute at all. You know, so just to make an issue out of nothing.
Okay, SPLOS, item number 4, the next SPLOS.
I guess.
I have finally gotten in touch with all the cities and gotten what they want their projects to be. So, 1, 2,
Steve, you will submit one?
4, 5, 6. Yes, I actually went. I had been misinformed. The mayor has not resigned. She just told them she wasn't running again. So she's still mayor till the end of the year.
See, I've been misinformed. I've been up there 2 nights in a row.
So yeah. So I finally got in touch with her, and she said, "I know I'm still mayor through December." So Byronville. Let me just go over this. What I just handed out. Just refresh all memories. We're estimating the revenues. The new SPLOS will be for the years 2025 through 2030. We have to go ahead and estimate what those revenues are. We think they'll be. This is what the group come up with, and I think that's a conservative figure. I think we'll definitely meet that. So then Byronville, they said they wanted equipment purchases to be 42,000, infrastructure projects to be 112,000 for their 154,000 of that. If it brings in 10,400,000, they'll get their 154,000. Doolin decided just to put just the infrastructure projects.
Well, I want to ask a question before we go on any further. But like I told you, I've been up there. Now, you know, something just don't seem to be adding up. Now, okay, they have to have a board to go along with the man when they committed that, because somebody should have decided on all the projects, right? The money that. Okay, now where did the board come from? Not from what I have gotten. I've been up there pleading and begging for the last, 2 or 3 days with people. And now it just seems like, I'm just curious.
You said the board, what now?
They don't have city council.
Okay.
They do, but they don't meet.
Exactly. And then, you know, I sort of been going around talking, and because I didn't want Doolin to get missed out on this right here. And
Mr. Barron,
yes,
I'll tell you how to flesh that one out real quick.
okay,
Ask them to give you a copy of the minutes where the board approved it,
you did right.
and then move on from there.
Yeah, see, that's why, you know, I had it on my list this morning to bring that up.
If
Well,
they
see-
lie about it, they lie about it.
Well, we're not to the point yet. That's gonna come into play once I get all the intergovernmental agreement drafted and for them to sign off on it. That's when, yeah.
Mhm.
'Cause nothing's official yet. This is
This is an estimate.
this is
an
preliminary.
This
That's
is an administrative.
trying to get the agreement that then they can all the city councils can go back and officially vote and approve.
We're not there yet.
That amount of money will not even keep up the water system, which
No.
was given to them.
See, that's what I'm talking about, man. That it just, you know, that
You know,
right
so
there
I
ain't
mean,
enough to do
I-
nothing with.
I understand, you know, there's not a whole lot to talk
Yeah.
about when it comes to projects because they can't keep their water system, you know, and it was a grant.
So-
And the government saying is you have to be careful what you ask for in grants, because somebody gotta keep it up.
Yeah, the free is on the front end. And it's a fraction of what you end up paying.
Meet me at the splash pad.
You saw that, Tom?
The county's projects are, let's stay on task here. The county's
I
projects,
wanna change ours to a splash pad.
courthouse administrative offices renovations, 300,000. Debt service payments, 450,000. EMS capital expenditures, 300,000. Fire department capital expenditures, 550,000. Jail capital expenditures, $1 million. Library capital expenditures, 50,000. Recreation department capital expenditures, 150,000. Road, streets and bridges, 5 million for a total of county projects of 7.8 million. City of Lilly, city equipment of 20,000. City facilities improvements and renovations, 20,000. Water system improvements and renovations, 20,000 for their total of 60,000. Pinehurst, just list one project, water system / sewage system, capital expenditures, 128,960.
Can I ask one question before you go? Lily was 60,000, Vineville was 43. Doolin was 43. Okay, I finna say, how in the world could Lily be? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's what I was saying. I mean, you know, I just couldn't.
Unadilla,
I'm gonna go back again.
Unadilla, city hall equipment, 100,000. Public works and infrastructure project, 739,000. Recreation department / water splash pad, 300,000.
All right, Tony.
They
What
heard
about- what
Vinyl
about-
was gonna get one and they couldn't
What
stand
about that
it.
$1 million worth of insurance you gotta pay every year probably for somebody get drowned and
The city of,
Can't drown a splash pad.
Oh, yes, you can.
If you jump
Yes, you can.
well, suppose somebody slip and bust the head.
Oh, yes, you can.
Teaspoon of water.
City of Vienna, city buildings, parks and recreation improvements, 50,000. Debt service payments for city hall, 311,000. Fire safety facility, 30,000. Machinery / equipment, public works, 40,000. Public safety vehicles, 100,000. Solid waste and remediation, 400,000. Water and wastewater improvements, 140,000 for their total of $1 million. And all those projects total $10,400,000. So, work on getting the,
I'm glad I got
Let's
this.
see what unit that was. Okay.
I'll work on getting the, rest of the agreement drafted and then get y'all to sign off on that. And then we'll work on getting all the cities to sign off on it. So, okay, moving along.
Need words to go to splash pad.
Okay, item number 5, the millage rate. Well, we got a public hearing at 11 o'clock, so we'll skip over that. We'll come back to it. Number 6, just a reminder, Middle Georgia EMC is hosting a cooperative community summit on Thursday, October the 19th. That's a meeting. That's our second meeting, regular meeting date in October. we're gonna, and tentatively, they've decided it'd be held at the steakhouse in Hawkinsville.
Oh.
So I told them we'll try to keep our agenda as short as possible. I told them we probably won't be there at 10 o'clock, but we'll be there for lunch.
We're gonna let Tony drive.
We'll be there to eat.
We'll get Tony there in
We'll
time.
make
to
a
eat.
grand
Is
entrance.
Mel Reese not open anymore?
No.
They're not.
Oh, back up to the code.
Oh, they
He's
ain't?
really ain't been around on what?
I thought one time they said they were gonna open it back up though.
Why we not mean that, but okay.
Yeah, he got both of them.
Thank you.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Okay, we're
You got
taking,
diabetes?
I'm sorry.
taking care of Jalapa Road, we're taking care of River Valley,
11.
talking about LME, we're taking care of that, motor graders. Number 11, just for information purposes, what items coming up for the next planning commission meeting. Request number 1, Aquarius Bullard is requesting that parcel 9754 be changed from R2, which is multifamily residential, to C2, general commercial, to allow him to operate an auto body repair / paint shop on the property. The paint shop the building already exists. He's been accused of operating it. The neighbors filed a complaint. It went before the magistrate court recently. The judge issued an order for him to cease operating it until he can get it rezoned, if possible. And so he is proposing to, currently, I think he's got a 2-acre parcel. He's currently proposing to have his one parcel divided into 2 separate 1-acre parcels. And the parcel with the paint shop building is the parcel he's wanting to have it rezoned to general commercial. So this is a rezoning request. So the planning commission will consider it and then make a recommendation to the county commissioners. Y'all have the final say on rezoning request. But it goes to the planning commission first on their October the 9th. So then it'll come to us at our next meeting after that.
So I'm confused. How far can he, in other words, he's trying to get it pulled back far enough, or is he gonna let it stay in the same place, the shop?
The shop's gonna stay in the same place.
He's gonna cut the property. He's gonna split the parcel right down the middle between the shop and the house. His house is gonna stay R2, and the other shop is gonna be, he wants it to be C1.
Let me caution this board.
I know we don't vote it.
This is informational, and you need to let the other board rule on it, and don't make anything a judgment one way or the other, because it's not before you for that at the moment.
This is his parcel, his existing parcel.
Okay, that's what I really want.
And I'm assuming that's the house.
Yes.
And that's the shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming he's proposing something like that.
Do your little measurements. I know he said we're not supposed to talk about it. How far is it from there to there?
From here to here?
Yeah. Can you do that?
Let me make it a little larger so it'll make it easier for me to do that. Measure.
Oh, they've been battling out there for about 2 or 3 years.
Since I came on in 2021.
That was one of yours.
2021.
70 feet.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that's request number 1. Request number 2 is another rezoning request. Kiara Talbert and Amy Nicole Clayton requested parcel 44-9B be changed from R1 single family residential to R2 multifamily residential to allow a manufactured home to be placed on the property. The property is located at 4135 Sloshy Trail. 44-9B. 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 44, space 9B.
Got Morel, you're talking about right there. You got Morel, Morel's driveway kind of, it's in the loop behind Morel, between
It's right
Morel.
behind that Morel Pond.
All right, this is Pleasant Valley Road. This is Slasheye Trail. This is Truman Road.
Okay.
The landfill's right over here across the railroad track from that. That's the parcel that they're wanting to have rezoned from R1 to R2. And there again, that's a rezoning request. Those requests go before the planning commission first. Then the planning commission makes a recommendation to the county commissioners. Then request number 3 is a variance request, and that just goes before the planning commission, and the planning commission rules, and that's it. It doesn't have to come before y'all. Michael and Heather Howard request a variance of the road frontage requirement for a proposed 1 acre parcel to be subdivided from parcel 2710A, which is 6.5 acres. They're requesting that the road frontage requirement for the proposed parcel be reduced from 150 feet to 23 feet. 2710A, 2710A, 2710A.
It's hardly enough, wide enough to get a drive in.
2710. We're just informational purposes.
Yes.
Let's don't be making over judgments.
That's right, Mr. Attorney.
I love it. This is on Drayton Road, Bryant Road, I'm sorry, Bryant Road. That's the parcel.
Where
That highlighted one right there.
they want to reduce what?
What they're wanting to do, they want their dollar to be able to put a mobile home behind here. So they're going to make this one parcel 2 parcels, but to get road frontage, this back parcel's gotta have access to the road out here. So they're proposing a 23-foot strip to get access to that back there.
Oh, so they're gonna get an engineer or a surveyor to map it off and.
Now, actually, I did not really know this, but you can just go over to the assessor's office, and if you can have him draw off,
You don't need no surveyor.
you don't even have to have it surveyed. You're not changing
Changing ownership.
not changing ownership.
Oh, okay.
Just giving an easement.
Yeah, just
It's not
provide.
even, it'll be 2 parcels. This parcel will be all of that back here, plus a little narrow strip all the way down here to the road.
Okay. I thought they meant like
I did.
23 in the back. Yeah, I'm in the backyard.
No.
Okay, so the house will be way farther.
And in reality, since it's the daughter, she doesn't actually have to use that strip as a driveway. She can still use their driveway.
Yes.
Because the parents are still going to own both parcels,
It's the
That's
daughter,
six-
it's the daughter today.
right?
That's it.
That's where all this messes up is in 10 years when it's not.
But they'll still own they'll still own the property. So
Maybe,
But it's
well,
it's
unless they sell it.
that's right.
But then that's on them if they sell it to somebody.
Or what if they sell both, one to one, one to the other? That's where you go back to.
All right,
That's
Mr.
the
Attorney.
reason to have the driveway out to the.
We don't have this problem before.
So I mean, that goes for the planning commission.
Yeah, we don't have this.
This is just for information for y'all. Okay. All right. So item number 12. At the last meeting, the Vinyl Women's Club threw out an idea about establishing a Dooley County Veterans Museum in the old barbershop building down here next to South Georgia Bank. And y'all asked Attorney Gregory to draft an agreement. And what number was that on the agenda? 12. All right. I've got y'all a copy. No, I do not have y'all a copy. I got it on the screen.
Yeah.
But I emailed this to y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it.
One question that I have received is the section here. There's a resolution, and then there's a memorandum of understanding. There was a question about Item 2. Currently, it says waive any rental costs for the property. Continue to insure the property against hazards, including the contents of the museum. And
Sure.
that's what the county's agreeing to do this.
My issue is that is you insure the property fine from our liability and all that, but we cannot insure memorabilia.
I thought we were taking the whole,
It's on loan.
taking the whole thing over.
No, they didn't. We're allowing them to use our building is what y'all will be agreeing to.
But why we gotta pay for the insurance then?
And it's our building.
You already
but-
insured it, aren't you?
Yeah, we already.
Oh, you already insured it now?
We're already
Yeah,
insured.
you got that.
You're not adding insurance.
We own it.
Like how much
But how,
is that cost?
we can't put
Very
the
nominal.
contents.
Let's stop for just a minute before we get off in all this, and let's talk about what that clause means and what it doesn't mean. Do you want them to rent it? Yes or no? And the answer is, do you
Pay
want,
rent? What do you
do
mean?
you want them to rent it?
Like for
Rent it.
$0?
Right. Or do you want a lease, or do you want to have a memorandum of understanding? Because I was told a memorandum of understanding. If we get into a lease, the questions y'all are asking get into all that. What we're talking about here is, if you have a lease, then we will cover who does all that in the lease. If we don't, you still have it on your property of insurance, and we need to be clear on that you're insuring it. Okay? And then the question becomes, since you're insuring the outside, who's going to do the contents? Since they don't have a lease, they can't insure that. You have a deductible, and, getting into what the value of anything is or not, you could have a rain event, for instance. You come up with any number of events that destroy what's in there. There's a way to determine if there's a value to something, and sentimental value is out the window with insurance. What we're talking about here is we're talking about if it's someone else's property, then they're responsible for, their homeowners would cover that because it's on loan. And so that's not, if Uncle Joe gave his medal and it gets lost, that's between him and his homeowners at that point. We're talking about what happens inside this building. And you can reword that however you want to. You could require them to have a copy of a policy of insurance if you wish. It doesn't cost you anything, I don't think, to do it like we've got right here, other than if there is a claim. But your insurance limit is what, $10,000 for the deductible?
Probably. What's our deductible? I think we've increased it.
I can't remember.
I
off the
think
top
it's
of my head.
10.
Okay.
But I'm gonna tell you, insurance company don't like memorabilia no way, because you can't establish values.
I'd
So
just
they
say
not gonna-
take that last part,
they not
including
gonna
the
do it.
contents, take that out.
That's a he said.
Then
she
it's just,
said.
if somebody donates
I
it,
don't think anybody's.
they get explained that it's on
Their
them.
family, this
It's worth a lot of money.
put it in a
All right,
place.
how are they gonna,
Yes, nobody's ever already going into. I don't think they'll do that, Tom. Do you?
I don't care.
think so either.
I think that
I
you're
know I
creating
won't.
I think you've got a $10,000 deductible. And you could, if you're concerned about that is, you could say that they would pay that they would pay the deductible.
But we don't want that to go, I would never want that to go against our insurance.
Oh, if the building burns,
No, the building's fine, the contents.
okay, the building burns, who pays for the contents in that loss, or a flood, or a
You just said
windstorm?
the individual's homeowners would pay for it.
If the property is owned by someone putting it on a loan, you're making the assumption that everything is going to be loaned. They're going to be acquiring things that people are going to give them and give it to them free and clear.
Give it to them, not us.
Right. Just like a tenant. So do you want them to have renter's insurance? And if so, we need to have a lease. My point is not to argue the clause of contents. If you don't want that, take it out, but you're going to create a problem down the road if you don't anticipate it now. The better way to anticipate this might be to have them have a lease, but that gets into, all kinds of, I have in here a sunset provision because quite frankly, this is probably going to go on for X number of years. Okay, and then then there might be a loss of interest in it. So I have in here a provision that allows them to come back every year, and if they don't, then we have a mechanism to close it down. And that to me is better than having a lease and trying to chase down who signs this and all that. We want to be able to have a sunset on this and an exit strategy if in fact it does not get off the ground, or if in fact it gets off the ground and goes with gangbusters for a year or two, and then it stops after year 2 or 3, we want to be able to get out of it. And that's the main issue here. When you anticipate who's going to insure things, you look at 2 issues, and you can allocate those however you want to, but just deleting it doesn't solve the problem because it creates another problem for them. I'm not in the insurance business, but if you don't have a lease, which we're not giving them, and you don't own the building, it's going to be hard for them to get any coverage for what's in there when you already have the coverage. That's my point. Now, if you want them to allocate the cost of that, then you put that in there that they would pay any deductible, or you say that we're not going to cover it. But I think you can't just take that clause out. You need to say we do not include the contents, but you need to anticipate that so that it's clear.
Well, the building's not big enough to put a whole lot in it to start with.
No.
And I don't think any family is gonna take something of any value that their family member shed blood for and put it somewhere. I may be looking at this all wrong, I think it's gonna be more informational than anything, but I don't look to see things of much value in there.
Well, where I could see something happening is they could pay a curator to come up with tags and other things, and it'd be $10,000 or something they raise or whatever. And, then it floods or the roof falls in and we own the building. Flood, okay, take flood out. Windstorm.
Leave that word alone.
Yeah. Windstorm comes in and now you've got their stuff that they put 10,000 in, and they're going to come back to you as politicians and say, we're a volunteer group, and we're not covered because it's not covered here, and we couldn't get insurance because this, that, and the other. And then you're going to be looking at, well, what are we going to do then? And you're going to have to make a political decision there that might otherwise be covered and might otherwise, as you said, be covered by an insurance company that says, we're not paying for memorabilia. It has sentimental value, but it gets it out of your hands so that they're not coming back. I mean, in an ideal world, they would be incorporated, and then they would have a lease with you for $0.
You said the word, you can't put a price on sentimental value.
Right.
The insurance company puts prices on things.
Right.
But then
That's why I don't like antiques.
Correct.
It's no different,
Then you just said we could just add it right on that line? That we don't cover the inside?
Yeah.
Okay, add it on the line then.
So just make it including, we'll just change that to excluding the contents of the museum.
On the inside.
Will that satisfy you, Mr. Mixon?
I don't know. I'd like to see what our insurance would do in that situation.
Okay.
That's my
Our current
you
agent-
say that, but people donate this stuff all the time just to say, my granddaddy got the Purple Heart.
What's it worth?
I don't know.
The insurance company don't either.
Yeah, I know.
That's
But
key.
what if
So
then
nobody's gonna pay for it.
that's a political nightmare to us, because they'll be sitting right there telling us it's worth $5,000.
When
Like
When this question came
like
up-
them trees beside the road that time.
Yeah, those trees that we knocked down out there on whatever road that was, those were $20,000 trees.
You notice anytime, you're right, anytime the government has anything to do with it, it goes up. We had somebody that last night, it was a special call meeting in Leesburg. We've got somebody who we need a little bit of their driveway, that they've been using our property all the time to turn around semis. We won't pave the parking lot next to them, which they'll be able to use. And it's worth, at the most, we could stretch X dollars, $2,000. We'll just throw that out there. Their beginning number is 60, because we're going to improve the property next to them.
Crazy.
Okay. So, I mean, people, and it's like, well, where did that come from? Well, it's the government, and I get it. And you're right with the trees. I mean, and that, of course, went nowhere because it was sentimentality, and it's, people come up with the government ought to, this is when the rubber meets the road with an insurance policy, you need an ascertainable standard as to what those things are. And if you're not, the problem we're reacting to and we're addressing is that we're not requiring this volunteer group that's trying to do something with this building to get an insurance policy of their own, because they can't afford it.
They
I would
can't
imagine.
buy it no way. Nobody's insured.
What about excluding personal items? With them telling, like you said, it kicks back to a homeowner's policy or something like that.
What about everybody just signing a agreement saying we are not responsible for loss or damaged property?
They should have that in place.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying.
let's do something,
Exactly
let's
right.
do
Yeah.
something like that.
They should
versus-
have that
I don't
in
wanna slow
place.
this down, because if we wait on the insurance company, they're not gonna be able to open by Veterans Day. Or do whatever they're,
I don't think are they trying to get open by Veterans Day?
that's what she said.
Well, just since that meeting, talking to Brandon, and he reminded me that I had forgotten. All right, now, the last time this building was used by, it was Dawn's Barbershop. Okay, and there was just to remind everybody, we all just assumed it was on city sewage. Well, there got to be problem with the septic tank. Come to find out it wasn't on city sewage, and it was just basically sometime way back, somebody stuck a drum in the ground, and that was the septic tank, and it was no longer functional. So then we were approached with the city. It was going to be extraordinarily expensive for the city to extend sewage there, so the city said that's out. It was going to be extremely expensive to get a septic tank system designed and installed on there. So that's when the county said, hey,
I don't know what you have no room.
we're not doing sewage, so sorry, Dawn, you can no longer use this as your barber shop. Okay, so it shut down. Well, then sometime after that, and I don't remember all the details, but we had electricity turned off because it's no longer being used. The panel box got removed out of the building. The county did it. Gary Houston and Brandon, but Gary Houston told Brandon to take it out. And we think at that time we needed some parts somewhere else. And Gary said, well, we ain't gonna ever use the building, so we just robbed the panel box out. So we got to get a new panel box put back into the building for it to be functional and get the electricity turned on. And we got to wait, and whatever hoops the city of Ina's building inspector requires us to do to jump through to get that accomplished.
You still didn't get to the bathroom yet, though.
Well,
They don't
it's not
want
gonna
they don't
have,
want a
there's no
Good,
water,
okay, I thought
there's
you-
no water turned on to the building.
Okay,
There
good.
won't be no water turned on to the building. But
Good.
the county will incur some expense getting electricity turned on.
Good. I thought you were going with that. We're gonna have to pay a septic.
And then whatever type of, Miss English said, that you could get some sort of unit from Home Depot for $500, dehumidifier, heat and cooling. I don't know how that's gonna fly in that little building, because probably ain't got no insulation in the ceiling and in the walls.
One of the units.
Well, the times that they're gonna be using this for the most part, it's not the dead heat of the summer with the exception of the 4th of July. They can always, open the door.
I'm just trying to
Thinking about running-
give the
messing with their
complete
property.
picture, not
As Commissioner Kaysen wisely stated, it's a very small area. And it has 2 doors, if I'm not mistaken.
there's
We
only
decided
there's
which way
only
we gonna
one
go yet.
exterior door.
We talking, but we ain't decided. We gonna go with what Tony and David said about that. That's Eugene, that what?
I'd let them handle the insurance
Okay.
thing in,
So we want to just change that word to excluding the contents.
where the responsibility, there will be no insurance.
Then draft them a letter, like he said, that if I donated memorabilia or guns or relics to be shown that I understand that it's on.
So what we're saying, we got 3 things going on here. Let's get with Commissioner Kaysen, the insurance guy, first, and let's go to you second. You're fine to have in there that the county will continue to insure the property against hazards.
Bill,
Including the approaches, if someone trips walking in.
yeah, oh, yes.
Okay, so we'll leave that part. So then the word including the contents of the museum, to go to your point, if we just change that to excluding the contents, then they're on notice. They have to do what's inside. And if they want to get waivers, if they want to do their
They should
homeowners.
get waivers.
Right. So we just need to
It's not
change
on
that
us.
one prefix and we're fine.
That'll cover. And your year-to-year thing is very, very good, because we know that's gonna change. Volunteers are volunteers, and sooner or later they retire.
Right. And
So
I
you
gave,
take a club that's strong right now,
right.
hot and real strong. A few people go away and decease. We know what happened. I was a member of clubs like that.
Me too, man.
All right, but
Thank you for your service.
You didn't get that, Steve?
I'm just- But now, say for whatever reason, the cat, say it was still ongoing, but for some reason the county had a better use for the building and wanted to discontinue it. I don't see no term where that can happen in that memorandum. Is there?
Oh, no, you're stuck with them.
Okay, that's,
Well,
and that,
you're stuck with them, but at 90, if they don't come to the board,
but if they do everything they're supposed to do, they gotta,
in perpetuity, we're dealing with.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm like you, but I'm,
Yeah.
okay.
And see, we already know we got a building you can't even move,
Right.
because there won't be a building.
You can't,
gotta move it.
and
Tear it
nobody's
off
willing to put
pieces.
sewer to it, so there's really very limited use for it. And
Okay, so you got a note on everything that they want you to do.
change N to X.
But then also get the club to have all donors
Do the waivers.
to sign a waiver.
Do the waivers.
That's
I
just
didn't see you
protecting
make
us.
no note of that. That's the reason I'm asking.
Just know it could be lost.
So we do it.
And what, I mean, we're talking what on the panel box, $1,500? I mean. they
Don't
can't
say
do-
that.
What?
Don't say that. It'll increase the minute you say that.
Start low.
$200?
Okay, all right, moving on.
Go rob it back from where we put it.
Driveway pipe, taking care of that. EPD, we're taking care of that. Item number 15, the Dooley County High School Homecoming Parade is scheduled for Thursday, October the 5th at 4 o'clock. That's the afternoon of our next board meeting. Do y'all wish to participate? That's a yes or no question,
Yes,
I'll be here this year.
okay?
yes.
Then it gets, what are y'all gonna ride in?
Can the county
Are y'all
buy,
gonna walk?
can we buy a convertible?
Here's an option.
I got my golf.
Man, you must know how old we are.
Mr. Mixon, Mr.
Golf
Mixon,
cart.
you would not insure the
If it don't be
contents of
cold.
the veterans of Tar
No,
Wars
it
since you
rain.
want a convertible to be purchased for your political aggrandizement.
Can we get an old Army Jeep? Then it can be placed over at open air Army Jeep.
I'm gonna put anything paramilitary or military or uniforms, I'm gonna put you in touch with your, I think it's your uncle, Mr. Mixon. Vince?
Different than the
So
said.
that's-
But y'all
Yeah.
come up
Yes.
with something to ride in.
Y'all just provide us some candy.
Good stuff.
Are we allowed to throw candy or does that get stopped
We
here?
do
They
every
don't pay
year.
against them.
Care about that.
They ain't stopped that yet.
That's one rule nobody care about for sure.
I think that was Leesburg, they stopped him from throwing the candy, that just sent him into a loop.
Okay, and
And
I had hoped to have a report of the EMS accounts receivable. I'm working on that. I've got a report, but it's, hold on. Since the company that's doing our third party billing, they've been doing it since 2011. The total accounts receivable is $2,100,000.
Jesus.
But I'm trying to get it broke down by years. I really want to start with what's this year to date.
Mhm.
What's it look like, but also getting it broke down by year. So hopefully I'll have that in the next meeting. Then the only other thing we got, gentlemen, is at 11 o'clock, we got a public hearing scheduled for the proposed 2023 millage rate. You're welcome to stay, Tim.
Yeah, turn around.
I was just saying,
Is
Ms.
that-
Holt
Yeah, but
and
they ain't
Connell.
gonna, they gonna keep.
Thank you
that
for
open.
coming.
Thank you.
What it is, they said they had been
What are you asking?
having.
None of y'all right this morning?
I got the
To
original.
do the job good, and they wouldn't do it. They weren't picking out the bone they supposed to. They letting it go.
Anybody would come in, would have been here by
They
now,
were
shouldn't
losing-
Steve?
they were
You would
losing
think
money.
so, yes.
Yeah, and they kept.
Lonnie, you ain't got that new rocking chair?
They finally did. They laid
You
him off.
gonna
And when they laid him off that night,
New signatures.
you gonna have to figure out what to do
They
with it.
said they started shooting apart.
You working on that, huh?
Throwing chicken
Good
all
deal.
over the plant.
Well, we-
Tyson.
They
We
gotta
sure
sign
appreciate
that.
all those
They
days
gotta
and
do it all at the
years.
same time, rather
They got a
Piecemeal.
book
piecemeal.
contract.
Appreciate it so much.
They wanted shipped
End of this month?
without picking all the bones
Okay.
out. So that means they don't need all the people down there.
How many we down?
Lonnie and I came the same year.
For real?
Not sure, but they said, I know, I
Couple months
heard they
apart.
called the city
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
told them that they won't be going anywhere. But no press release, they gotta send their people for months. And they don't.
Make sure they nobody here.
They weren't, Tyson released a press release closing 5 plants and Vienna was not on.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
gonna
it
stay,
wasn't on
you
there?
gonna stay with us?
Thank you, Jesus.
You gonna stay with us or?
Yeah, we're.
Yeah, so Eddie said in the paper that they called him and
Is he shutting this down?
Thank you.
No, it's still on. It's still on.
but he didn't say how many they gonna do with the night shift.
All right, we ready?
Will you take us
Yeah,
off of the
Yeah,
recording?
take
Go.
Are you gonna take us off the recording thing?
Where's the public here?
Oh, you can start that. I thought you
We
something else.
we don't have an executive session planned.
Okay.
So we just need to call the public hearing in order to receive public comments on regard to the proposed 2023 millage rate, which is, let me get back to it here. Okay. And this is the 5-year history that we had to print out. We're proposing the millage rate to be 17.45 mils for 2023, which is a half a mil reduction from the 2022 millage rate of 17.95 mils. We had to advertise it as a 2.67% increase, and we're required by state regulations to hold 3 public hearings. We're holding one today at 11 o'clock. We're holding another one this evening at 6 p.m. here at the County Commissioner's office. And the third and final public hearing will be held next Thursday, September the 28th at 11 o'clock. And at that time, we should be able to officially adopt the millage rate for the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Education. According to the ad the newspaper put in, and the Board of Education had in the paper, and I know this is kind of hard to read, they're having their final public hearing this evening at 5 o'clock, and they are proposing to set their millage rate at 16.404 mils, which is the same as what it was in 2022.
Saying they had to, that's an increase of.
They haven't advertised an increase of 5.6. They haven't advertised it as a 5.63 tax increase.
But then it says increase of 2.045 mils above the rollback rate.
Above the, that's, all this is, the state mandates how this wording is, and it's very confusing because the 5-year history, leaving that millage rate, they're gonna realize 9.97% more tax dollars than they did last year. Okay, but the state doesn't consider all of that necessarily. They don't consider that an increase. If you're getting more tax dollars due to new construction, the state doesn't consider that a tax increase. So that's why they're going to get 9.97% more meals, more tax dollars, but they only have to advertise an increase of 5.63 mills. Because the state has another worksheet, you go over here, just like we do, and I'll go back over here and you see it a little bit. This is the worksheet you got to figure to compute what the state calls a rollback millage rate. That would, if you, for our example, and it goes back to the increase in the real property. Our 2022 digest for real property was $423 million. The new 2023 digest was $456 million, a significant increase. But of that increase, 21 million of it was due to the reassessment. 11 million was due to new construction. So if the only increase we had was just due to new construction, we could have left the millage rate the same and not have to advertise an increase. But we had $21 million due to reassessment. So the state makes us do this form here, and in the state saying, all right, for you to not have to advertise a tax increase, you need to roll your millage rate back to 16.997. And if we had rolled it back to that, we wouldn't have had to advertise a tax increase. We would still be getting more tax dollars, but we wouldn't have to advertise it as a tax increase. Is that clear as mud? So
I get that? Will you print that?
can I just email it to you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so nobody showed up.
All right, so, well, they always like to recommend we stay at least 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
So while we're killing, Linda's got a couple things she wants to update y'all on.
Okay. As y'all know, we have two people that are retiring. Tim Woodson, September 28th, Lonnie Hagerbrook, September 29th. That's next week. And I have a concern about when they retire, we just kind of like just let them go out. We don't say thank you or nothing. So I feel like we need to give them something to recognize them and thank them for their many years of service. Because Steve, did we ever look up and see how many Lonnie Hagerbrook had?
Same as him. He just
Yeah,
I think we both came in 86,
Yeah.
I think, 37, I think.
Okay, 37 years, and Tim, he'll be completing 30 years. So I'm asking the board, would y'all be in favor of a service recognition? And I checked with some of the other counties, some of them give money with plaques. I don't see where we can pretty much afford to give them money, but that would be y'all's call.
A Rolex?
You get out the mix and barbecue sauce.
Oh.
Hey, we'll give a bottle each. You give yours and I'll give mine.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's kind of a twofold thing. I also would like to recommend that we also start honoring them with their years of service, maybe starting at 10 years. If they've completed 10 years, give them something like a pen with a certificate, and just keep it going. But starting at the five-year increment, anything after 10 years.
Since you want to go.
Okay, you left out one thing.
What was
I
that?
ain't hear you said nothing about no food. like
Like
a little.
Oh, and I do recommend that, the board make the presentation, whatever it is, and that way we can throw a party.
Okay, thank you.
Just,
Now, okay.
just a cake and
I'm sorry.
cake
Hold on,
punch.
but I was like saying, but when, what time?
Well, I don't think we will have anything ready by next Thursday. We just bring them back. Have them to come back, one of our, maybe the first meeting in
They're
October.
doing something for Hagerbrook Monday, I think.
The
Yeah,
sheriff
they're doing
department,
something.
For
Yeah,
Monday.
Well, I agree with that. So a plight don't cost but $10,
Oh, yeah.
$20, $30.
We can't have a plaque
Proclamation that we
made
do
by
everybody
next
else.
week.
That's how they
proclamation
used to
too,
do it
yeah.
on the job every
we
Friday.
probably could have one made by
I'm
next
just
week.
saying, I know Tim, he's gonna start another job.
He's gonna start another job. It's gonna be hard, I would think,
Yeah,
get him to
Sheriff's
come.
Department's doing it,
Monday.
we can't have a plaque.
No, we can't have one by Monday, but I think we can have one by Thursday.
And see, we didn't know anything about the Monday deal till yesterday.
Mhm.
And Lonnie just happened to call Linda and me, said, I understand the sheriff's was having a secret retirement dinner for him, but word got out. They wasn't even planning on telling him till later, and he called. He wanted to invite me and Linda to come by there. So
Monday, what time?
12.
he didn't invite you.
I'm going though. I'm going to eat. You said
12:30. And so we call a drop off or
Oh, we
something.
got
Kind of
some Monday
retirement.
though.
But I'll see if we can get a plaque made by next
Yeah.
Thursday.
Her thing.
Or y'all gonna come back next Thursday?
That's it.
Make the
We got no
presentation.
public hearing. We got no public
Oh,
hearing
that
next
lady,
Thursday.
that lady,
Okay,
that lady,
Her thing's over
That's
at the
right.
church.
okay, I know. it was
all right,
something.
I'll
That's
work on
Monday,
the
okay.
plaque. And, are y'all in favor of giving them a pen for their years of service, start recognizing them for their years of service?
I don't.
That's
think it's-
something.
I don't think some people wear or do, you know. I think something that they could put on a wall is better than a pen,
Mm-hmm.
a plaque.
Well, we,
Cause you would have to give everybody, start giving everybody something, because
I'm gonna tell you what,
everybody been over here over.
I don't know how
20 years.
expensive they are,
20
but those,
years.
you know, a small plaque, and then you just add a bar, 5 years, 10 years,
mm-hmm.
15, 20, or whatever, like,
Man, we used to be
Like
happy
up here?
with a gift card.
Like
You and
up
your
here,
wife
you
go
mean?
out and eat.
no, something they
You
have.
know,
Oh, something they'll have, okay.
remember those gold cross pens, like writing pens?
Mm-hmm.
I remember the gold
Mm-hmm.
plated cross pens that always have like an emblem or something.
Mm-hmm.
What if you could do that for them retiring?
Yeah.
Those are,
Something
it's
they
a
can remember.
$150 pen. It's very expensive ink pen, but some people have them, like he said, put in a glass box and mounted, and some people wear them all the time. But
Give me a gift card.
We got 3 or 4 things going on.
yeah, but once that's used, it's over.
So we don't know what to
When
do.
it comes in and comes out, that's it.
Okay. So we need to decide on what we want to do.
So we decided on the plaque, the 2 plaques already. So now we're trying to decide on the 5-year pen, 10-year, whatever, 15-year,
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever you all want to do. If you just want,
And we can, you know, give that some more thought. That
Yeah,
that
let's
ain't
do
got, that decision ain't got to be made
Can we do that?
today.
Yeah.
We need to know
Okay.
about that, what we want to do, give for their
But
retirement.
yeah, for Lonnie and for Tim, that's the more pressing, in my opinion.
When do they become vested? 10 years,
5 years.
5 years? That makes sense then.
And just
So
for
My
discussion,
jail gave me money.
I know a lot of them. I check with a lot of counties. They do, but they'll leave it with
Depends how
money.
many years, be anywhere from 200, 250.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much money
Georgia
you
Power
talking?
used
You
to give
talking?
Rolex.
Not nothing.
Yeah.
You getting that?
And like you said, they was recognized like every 5 years. They'll let you know and give you.
We don't
They
have
used
like,
to give us a magazine and let us order stuff out, but I think they cut that out.
like some places you have like a Christmas party every year, and you stand up, you
Yeah.
recognize the
Yeah.
ones that hit
a
that
banquet or something like that.
banquet. And we should probably do that. I mean, I know.
Where you gonna have it at? Where you gonna have it at?
Now, Reese's.
They're closed.
Ain't nobody bought that building yet.
Nope.
They ain't want to sell it.
They don't
You
see
can
Oh.
rent with the.
Because we used to
the
have
fire
ours at the
department use
recreation
that place
department,
for it.
Yeah.
but we don't have no big one down here.
You know, you know,
Oh,
for
recreation
the
club.
Yeah. In the whole
Yeah,
all
cater.
all the record.
Cater, they have. I mean, they've
You talking about some money now.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yep.
You know, like City of
Christmas
Unadilla, they have a Christmas
party.
party, they have it catered, they have a bar. I mean, they have a big deal to
Mhm.
show appreciation to the employee. I mean, we don't,
That's when they recognize the years of service.
yeah, we don't do anything like.
Mhm.
That's when they hand out the bonus checks.
Mhm.
See, I didn't have no retirement.
See, he talking about-
That would get them to
I-
come because
I
some
didn't
of them
have- I just
wouldn't
walked out the
come.
door.
But
They
if
didn't
you
give
say
you
you're
no
gonna,
nothing,
a
huh?
bonus
I didn't
check,
give them no
they'll
nothing.
They
come
gave me some.
They used
Yeah,
to pay.
I didn't
us
get
more
it,
But get out of here.
during that time.
I got every year.
I
they talk
remember
about
that.
it.
Still being recorded now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't come back.
All right, so we're stuck on what you're gonna give them other than a
But you
plaque.
always look forward to it, didn't you?
Yeah.
As an employee, you
Yeah.
always look. I remember the bank They used to have their Thanksgiving party right back here in this warehouse.
So nothing you got.
That was a
I just got
Big-
the plats for next week.
big deal.
Yeah, that'd be good. We got to do
10
something
minutes, back, Tony,
inside.
10 minutes, okay.
Okay.
I think she
The
got-
other thing is, when I go to these meetings and since COVID, a lot of people went home and started work from home. Well, we're not a facility that can really work from, some of us cannot work from home. But what I would like to do is propose a 4-day work week. A lot of the counties are doing that. And what they're doing, they're working 10 hours and closing one day. So I'm not asking for a decision today, but if y'all just think about the 10-hour work day.
It
And
depends
that
on
will
the
relieve,
office.
pardon,
I said it depends on the office.
I don't even like the road department being off on. I mean, well, it's always, the reason I say that, and the same with her over there, and it was in the beginning, but her over there,
And-
tax commissioner.
yeah.
I walked in there, hit the door 2 Fridays initially, but the road department, especially with the garbage, Friday morning, it doesn't fail. Fred Hall calls me,
Mhm.
and I can't call a soul. And it's just, or Rodney, I feel bad of calling him on, I know they're off, but I just.
That's why I said it depends on the department. Yeah.
And also consider this as part of a retention for the county. You want to hold your employees, but yet still you want to offer something, an attractive package to them. It's just like I say, it doesn't have to be a decision made today.
All right. Is that it?
Is that it? You said?
Y'all just want us to do the plaque for Lonnie and with a cake and ice
The
cream.
sheriff probably gonna do something nice for him. But Tim, I mean, it don't make sense to give him an extra and then Tim just give one.
Yeah, have them both to come.
But no, we can't help with them. We don't know where Craig's getting.
I know, but I bet a
his
guarantee it's gonna be nice. So you wanna go a plaque in $200?
I don't, whatever y'all think.
Oh,
No, no,
Well, when you start, you gotta keep, you
That's
gotta have to keep
that's
it
the
going.
problem there now. You start something,
Yeah, but we ain't got one other person I know gonna retire recently. Probably.
What do we
Well, we say
consider
30 years
retire?
on
What if
too
they,
Yeah.
what if they resign and go? What are we gonna do for them?
and how many years of service have they got to have in place to get
They resign
that?
and go, that's
There
a
you go.
Yeah, 30 or more.
I said $200 ain't much for 30 years.
Well, here's one thing to consider too. We started something with the year-end money that we give them at Christmas. So evidently, somewhere along the line in our mind, we have that budget.
Mhm.
So if somebody's living in the end of September, it's not like if they stay here, you're gonna have that
That's
anyway.
right.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
So
right.
you
You're gonna
got a
have
little
more.
money to work with, I wouldn't let that bog me down too much.
So go ahead and give them their bonus.
Yeah.
How much is that?
Do you give them all of it, or do you give them, I'd set a lower figure, because they could retire in February.
I think go with 200.
You laughing at Steve?
Well, why don't you just give them the 500 that you was gonna give them if they were still employed?
Well,
That's
if
what
they,
the bonus
but
is,
now if
500.
they
But you're
retire,
gonna have
30,
to replace
especially-
them with another.
for being a devil's advocate, if they retire between January and September, that's our fiscal year. They've already got the $500 Christmas bonus for that fiscal year. They got it the Christmas before.
Yeah, I ain't thinking about the fiscal.
And then what if he comes back
Operate like
and then
that.
retires again?
No. I just said 200. Be through with it.
That seems to be the consensus of the board. They 200, they give them 200 be through.
Because I know most people love money better than anything.
Well, they like to decide how they gonna
You
spend.
know, Tim.
Okay, so y'all wanna give them the plaque and $200? Okay.
So everybody that retires going forward gets $200?
Yeah.
With 30 years.
What have they been here, 5 years or?
30 years.
30
No,
years?
You said 30 years.
Let's just say 25 years.
25 or more.
Mhm. 25 years or more. Are y'all voting on that or?
Mr. Anderson, Ricky Gray. Ain't about 3 or 4 of them gonna retire in the next 5 years.
That's right.
Do we
They
need to
all
vote on,
retire
that?
one
That's gonna be the
time.
consensus of the board. Do we need to vote on it?
No.
Okay then. All right. So you got your answer.
Okay. Two blacks.
You got anything else, Linda?
No, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right.
I'll be back about the 4-week, the 10-hour for 4 days a week. I'll be back with that.
All right, there being no public comments on the millage rate, we can close the public hearing on the millage rate. And Mr. Chairman, that's all the items of agenda I have, all the items of business I have.
Okay. Back to Tony.
What I do have, I forgot, I'm sorry. I would like to get, we have, most department heads have a county credit card through the Bank of America that the board authorizes each department, because it just nowadays, you order so much stuff online, a county credit card just comes in real handy. And actually, you get more paper, you get more documentation than sometimes you get where you just go charge something at the store somewhere. The payment for that, all of the Bank of America credit cards is automatically drafted out of our general fund each month, but that's no problem. The problem is occasionally we need to make a purchase that needs to be paid for some funds that aren't in our general fund, like the library's wanting some cameras put up out there. Well, that needs to be paid for out of the library splosh. And if I let Chris just charge it his credit card, it creates extra bookkeeping on us to get that. I'd like to get authorization to get me a county credit card at South Georgia Bank just for special kind of stuff that's going to get paid for out of different accounts.
Oh, you don't have one already?
I've got a Bank of America.
Okay.
But see, that's automatically drafted out of our general fund along with everybody else.
Okay, I got
This would only be used for special occasions that
you. Right quick.
it's going to get paid for out of something other than the general fund.
I think we can trust you.
I make a motion.
I would hope so.
We authorize him to get a credit card for special purposes.
I second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, there's been motion and second. Do we have any other discussion? And I already said we can trust them. So, all in favor by the show of hands.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Hey, Steve had to hit you, Tony.
Oh, I make a motion that we adjourn to see everybody back at 6 o'clock.
Dog.
We don't have to come, though, do it. But it's best to just show up anyway and show your face. Especially when you raise the people.
Because you can already see it by how many is going to show up.
Exactly. Oh, I'm not going over there.
Bring all them over here.
That was going to be hot at 5 o'clock. I already heard
I bet ain't no crowd going to show
I
up.
guarantee
Y'all
you.
at 6 o'clock. I know I won't.
You think so?
I know there's a group coming out of the west.
Yeah, I know.
I knew there was a group trying to get a group up. But all right.
But you know, y'all,
Then one other thing. Nobody wanted to go to the legislative meeting in October. Is it in Savannah, Steve?
Oh, no. I didn't think you did it.
I just thought I'd mention it.
I would like to get started back, but I
yeah,
just-
me too,
I
but not
can't
this
do it.
year.
Okay.
I'm otherwise it'll get-
Okay. That's all I have.
I know there's one. We already said right there. I know there's
Oh,
one.
whoa, let me turn.
I know there's one person. They try to get their mama house on some grant money.